Hey babes, we are going to jump right in today and talk about how I get all of my digital magazine printables into a project. So let's start by just going through the folder real quick that you are going to see when you download all your goodies from the Google Drive. And I'm just expanding all the folders here just so that you can see it's loaded as per usual. There's always going to be some PNGs of certain things and then just some print ready files of everything else. And of course, you can always just go to the print ready PDF that we are going to basically print from today. So once you open that, it's going to take you to whatever version of Adobe Acrobat that you have. Now, I have a pro version because I obviously pay a membership for my Adobe Creative Cloud, but not everybody has that. So whatever you have, you might have a different version, and you might not have some of the options that I'm going to show you, but I do still want to just make sure that you understand what the options are and the easiest way for me using those options to print my items on different papers. So here I'm just giving you a quick scroll through. So this is going to be all of the papers first, and then we will see the other printables. So we've got some Bible highlights, we've got some journal cards, we've got some little Polaroids and a little mini set from Kelly, some washi, the hearts, and then a couple of little extras that I popped in there and the back cover. So you could easily just print all of these things, just straight up throw some cardstock in your printer and call it good. You could absolutely do that. But what I prefer to do is to print some things on sticker paper, some things on cardstock, and then you will actually see something printed on transparency, which is a really fun medium to use. And we'll see that in the future in the project that I'm going to work on. So what I'm doing now is I have a function called Organize Pages inside of my version of Adobe. So I'm going to just select all of the items that I want printed on cardstock. I just usually choose cardstock first, and then I can essentially extract those pages, which separates them from this file. It doesn't remove them unless you tell it to, but it just separates them so that you don't have to write down the page ranges that need to be printed. So for me, it's just going to be all of these that I've selected, and then I can extract it. It's going to basically open a whole new file that says pages from your original file name, and it's only going to have those things that you've selected. I want to start definitely by printing the reference sheet because I want to prep my folder and make sure that all of my issue number 18 things are organized so they're easy to find when I'm ready to work on a project. I print everything in actual size. I usually go in and double check my print settings right here to make sure that I have the right paper size, that I'm on a borderless setting. My printer does have borderless, so I can print edge to edge for these pieces of patterned paper, which is lovely. I also have some pre-set up settings. So if you like your printer settings and you find yourself choosing those same settings every single time, check to see if your printer has a save function for those presets. Then you can just go back and save, or you can just go back and select that one preset every time. Now I have a few different ones for a few different purposes, but that's just me. I also am always going to recommend that you print on the highest print quality setting that your printer allows. That will definitely make a big difference if you're finding that your printer isn't printing very well. It very well could be that you don't have it on the highest print quality settings. And it also could be the paper that you're using, because you can have a very basic printer. My printer is an under $150 printer, and I use high quality paper. You can see that linked in my faves page for the printer I use and the papers that I use so that you can get an idea that it's not very expensive, but it does make for beautifully printed items. So they do have a really crisp, clean feel, and that is definitely due to the paper, definitely not just having a good high quality printer. So here, I am not going to show you that every page comes out, but you're just going to trust that it does. And we are going to move on to the second set that we're going to print. So we're going to go back to that original file, not the one that we created with just the selected items. And then we're going to go pick all the things that we want printed on sticker paper. So I use a clear matte frosted sticker paper. It is actually label paper, full sheet label paper, which is cheaper than it being called sticker paper. So I also have that linked on my faves page if you're curious as to what exactly I'm using to print on. And then this page, or this set, so I've extracted those as well. So I'm going to print everything here on that clear sticker paper. I'm also going to print the cover on a transparency. So that's going to be super fun and something that we will get to play with shortly. I'm also making sure that I have all of the other add-ons printed in my stash, the tags or the tabs, and actually, yes, the tags as well. I forgot I did labels, tabs, and tags for this issue because there's just so many good patterns and artwork that I wanted to just include everything. And because you guys are crafty babes and my special people, you get all of it. So here I should have combined all of these things into one large PDF, but I didn't do that previously. So now I just have to kind of go back and just print these things separately for what I have not already printed. If your printer prints 2 by 2, which means two smaller versions of the page side by side, I love to do that with the labels. In this particular situation, my printer only does that when the file includes 2 pages. So what I would normally do is include I would make a copy of the labels so that I have 2 files, and then I would combine them into one PDF so that there's 2 pages in that PDF, and then it will print them smaller. So it's just kind of nice sometimes to have a smaller version of the labels. I do like to do that, but I didn't feel like going through all that today to show you how to do that. I figured I would just explain it in case it was an option for you. Sometimes your printer settings will not require you to have that second page. Mine just happens to be a little bit stubborn like that. So now I'm taking the cover and I'm doing a separate print of it. I'm just going to do page number 1, and we're gonna just have some fun. Changing the printer settings just a little tiny bit. When I print on sticker paper and transparency or vellum, I tend to use my regular settings, and I mean regular because I have like a regular print and then a light and bright print. And usually the light and bright I use for my photos and or anything I'm printing on cardstock, because the cardstock can tend to just produce a little bit of a darker photo or a darker image. So when I print on the clear sticker paper, it's already a lighter paper, so I don't want to go even lighter on the print, if that makes sense. And I think we are just about done with the printing process here, but I'm just kind of showing you just the different things that we're printing. It usually, I would say, probably takes me 15 minutes to just make sure everything gets printed out. But you know, even when you've started a print job, you can start the next print job as long as, you know, you've got the right amount of paper in there so that when all the cardstock is done, it will start pulling your, you know, different papers. So now that we have everything printed, let's get into a project. So here I am. We're gonna get some things organized, and this is usually how I begin almost any project, is just trying to find the things that I want to use. But with using my own products, there's always so much to choose from. So I kind of just want to make sure I have them all organized so I know what I have. I mean, I know what I've made, but doing an actual project, that makes sense with the photo, and I just have a little tiny process. But first I want to get them organized. So let's go ahead and cut up that reference sheet. And I love using the top label as well as the little circle badge. And I'm just gluing those things right on top of a white file folder so that I can get it into my folders when I'm all done. I have some Distress Oxide inks selected that are color matched. Also, this was my very first idea to do with this transparency, and so I just wanted to get it cut out and kind of let it live there next to me on the page for a while. And here what you're going to see is I've got two photos. I really want to use the one that I've got here because the purple leggings are super cute, and I really want to pull out the purple supplies in the kit. And I also, of course, why wouldn't I want to use some buffalo plaid tissue paper? So I am really trying to figure out how to use that envelope, use this buffalo plaid paper, and you're gonna see that it is not, it's not gonna work. let's just get that out there. I also want to use these two tags. I feel like they pull the right amount of color in, and I'm not kind of on the struggle bus. It's been a while since I've created, to be honest with you, and so I'm feeling a little out of practice. So I figured, let me start with the title first, because I knew for sure that that's what I wanted. And I wasn't sure here if I wanted to use the purple flower or the black flower to go along with these purple letters. So, and just so that the stamp set, it coordinates with all of the, die cuts and colors, and not colors, but all the art. And so I designed specifically that flower and the taller flower to go with the two versions of Wild. And so I'm just kind of auditioning where I want it. I knew I wanted that label that says So Dang Wild, because the purpose of this, and now I have switched photos, is because I really wanted to document this magazine. To be honest, it's a big deal for me. And every time I put out an issue, it's a big deal for me. This one in particular, just because it happens to fall on our anniversary of launching this thing 3 years ago, and I just kind of felt some feels about it and wanted to make sure I got that documented. So this photo represents this much better. So what I'm finally getting around to at this point is knowing where I want my things to live a bit. So I'm just giving myself a little bit of a foundation to rock and roll. So I know I want the horse to be layered on top of those tags. I want them to still be layered like that. And I've got some stamps down at the bottom kind of ready to go. I'm just kind of auditioning them there. And then I knew I needed to pull in some black. So I grabbed a stripe that goes well with the shirt that I'm wearing. What I really want to do here is try to do some tone-on-tone stamping, but I'm just a little nervous. I don't think it's going to look great. So I've got a test one over there, and I've made a decision that the stamps are going to be black, and I'm going to use tone-on-tone supplies on those Polaroids instead. So I'm going to use the yellow label on the yellow Polaroid and stamp in black. And, I'm just trying this out again and realizing, no, I should have just gone with my gut, and now I've got it covered up. So that's what we're doing, and that's fine. There's always an opportunity to correct what you've done, and especially even if I didn't have an opportunity to correct it physically here on this page, I could have easily reprinted. That's what I love about digital supplies, is that you can make mistakes and you can start over, and it's really not a big deal. So I'm feeling more confident about the stamping in black and just using supplies for my tones. And I'm really trying to get in there and use a little bit of everything. So I've taken a little strip of the washi, popped it onto white cardstock so it comes off the page a little bit more. But I love how it's just a really subtle pattern right there behind that label. And then I tried so hard to be super fancy and creative with this one, and it just didn't go well. So I thought it would be cool to like separate this heart and put the grow inside, and it just failed. It did not. First of all, I stamped the grow a little bit lower than I wanted because I wanted the heart, top of the heart to stick up off of there. So that was frustrating. And then it just did not, like, I get it that does look like a half of a heart, like, but to me, I was already just so irritated with the whole thing that nothing was looking right. I even tried to cut extra slices off to like, I even tried to put the slices back on. It's just, you know, sometimes you just gotta like give it up. So I'm coming up with a solution here. I've just got that half of a flower. I didn't want to use another flower. I was really trying for all three clusters to have different elements on them. That's where I was really stuck on trying to use the heart, but it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm also trying to put that buffalo plaid into somewhere and it's not happening. So I'm ready to commit to some of these things here. I do try to put some textured stuff here inside of these, but it just felt really busy and felt very unnatural to me. So I just didn't. And just still trying to figure out if I need to fill in this spot or, you know, kind of what I need to do. I'm just rearranging some things, but I'm definitely feeling confident about some of the layers. So now I've moved that title toward the middle. It has a little bit more of a stance. I've added a couple of the tabs, and I like layering tabs. They look really fun. And I'm ready to go. We are committing here. And I'm going to pop the horse up off of on some pop or some foam tape, and also do that same thing with what am I even saying? With the letters. And I did decide on the black floral there because it really helps to tie in the label and all of the different black elements that we have going on. And then I'm almost ready to stick down. See, here's where I get like, girlfriend, just stop. It's okay to stop. It's okay to not use it on everything. And I really should have done the same thing. I should have just stamped the date stamp one time. I tried to do some ghosting. I just didn't like it. And that's okay. Again, it's all kind of practice. It's all just knowing how far you feel comfortable going. I really did like the fact that I did the highlight, that highlight there's two highlight strips in the stamp set. And they are meant to like go over some of the words. And you'll see here, after a while, I do some journaling on this page, and you'll see that I use that highlighter to highlight just my own journaling, which is also perfectly acceptable. So I'm going to go off and do my journaling, and then I'm going to, like I said, stamp some of these little highlight strips onto some of the important words, just to pull some color into the second or the other side. And now, like, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I started the journaling out a little low. Wasn't sure what I was going to do up top, and then realized, oh my gosh, I could totally put the magazine title there. And then I actually printed a second transparency. I printed it at like a 75% scale because I knew I didn't have enough room for the one that I printed originally. But look how perfect it just sits right there. So that is like several ways to utilize these products. I love seeing what you girls make with these. It just always kind of blows my mind that stuff that I've made is out there and that you guys love it. So I hope that you've had a good time watching and that you guys come up with even better and cooler ideas than I did in this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Talk to you later. Bye, babes.